Hey guys, on this week's edition of Weird, I have quite an unusual ceiling fan for you. This is an American Fan Manufacturing Company ceiling fan. Um, no, I'm pretty sure that a majority of you watching don't know anything about that company or never heard of it. I'd never heard of it. Um, yeah, this is just an all around weird fan. I picked this up off Marketplace. It was near, like, within like 15 minutes of me, actually. I think it was the seller lived like maybe like half an hour away, but we met like halfway between them and me. But yeah, so this is a rebranded A&G Machinery ceiling fan from at least from what I believe. More info on that in a minute, but yeah, made by A&G Machinery, which is the same company that we determined made the iFan, the enigmatic, uh, weird, old, like chunky fan with the eye-shaped vents. This one is a different model that A&G offered, and the American Fan Manufacturing Company. I'm not super familiar with like the circumstances surrounding the company and like what they did. I know that they made their own fans for a while. I think I know they made their own parts for some fans. Um, Dan Spiffy Newman, aka Dan Sperry, has a great video on the American Fan Manufacturing Company that I did watch a few times over just to try to like get the history of this company. Um, and so he has some more information. I'll link that in the description. But yeah, so basically, from what I understand, they started out manufacturing their own fans and then switched to buying A&G fans and then sort of cobbling them together into different fans. Basically, kind of like what the Royal Windine Company did with the Emerson blender fans. Like they took a blender fan and made it all fancy with like pieces of brass and new blades and things like that. I don't think they did so much of an extent to these because this is basically just an A&G fan. Like we've seen ones kind of like this that are like confirmed A&G models. This is just a little bit different. Definitely something I've never seen quite like anything like this before. Um, yeah, so it is a top mount spinner ceiling fan. It has a stationary decorative housing. It's almost if you the design is very reminiscent of like the Kodak Model 100 Galaxy or the Astro. But I think these came well before those, so maybe those were modeled after these. Who knows? But anyways, yeah, the company was itself was founded in I think 1978, so it can't be from earlier than then. Um, and yeah, it is heavy. It has a cast iron spinner motor that I think we determined is a CEC uh, motor, which A&G did use CEC motors, but Dan told me that this is from what he, from what I showed him, because I didn't take the bottom plate out, the bottom housing off or anything to show the bottom part of the motor, but from the top of the motor, it looks like it's not the same motor that A&G fans used, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. This may be a whole new motor that we've never seen before. Um, yeah, the upper and lower canopy. The lower canopy is like a regular bell canopy, basically, but it's like much bigger. It's huge. And when I first saw the pictures, I actually thought they swapped the upper and lower canopies, but nope. That is the lower canopy, and it is a ginormous bell canopy. The upper canopy, I think, most closely resembles the Terra canopy. That's like the one that I can see it like. That's the one it most closely resembles to me, at least. Like it has that sort of concave design, almost like a bell canopy, but then it's like cylindrical at the top and it's got the flat part at the bottom, and it also the collar is the same exact kind where it's like not attached to the canopy, but it's separate and it like fits up there on the down rods and like keeps the canopy snug up to the ceiling. Very interesting, very strange design. I really like it. Um, Now this is not the first one of these fans that's surfaced or that are on YouTube. At least a fan made by this company. There is a 3-bladed spinner that Vintage Ceiling Fans, aka Adam, owns, and I'll also link that video in this description as well, so you can see that one. But that one is a lot different than this one. It has, like I said, it doesn't have a stationary housing. It's just a spinner motor. It's got like an ornate little finial on the bottom of it, so it might be like kit adaptable. I don't know. But the canopies are much different. They're like cast and they're like very ornate. The upper and lower canopies. Yeah, they're like they have all these ridges in them and they're very ornate, a very cool design. Same exact blade arms as this one, so that's pretty much how I can tell it's the same exact fan or same exact company. And the motor is similar but not the same, from what I can tell, at least from the side and the top. Yeah, this one is also completely unlabeled. There's no labels or anything on any part of it whatsoever. Totally unbranded, untagged. Yeah, and this light kit it came with, I am fairly certain that is actually I'm 100% certain that's not original. That light kit is from much later. But it's a really cool light kit. I actually do like it. And I have 4 40-watt incandescent bulbs in there. So it looks very nice. And yeah, I really do like it has an ornate sideband on the side of the housing, but the bottom of the decorative housing itself is smooth. And yeah, it's just a really neat, really weird fan. So, yeah, I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and show you the fan running. It doesn't have a pull chain, speed control, or anything in the fan, no reverse switch. There's no switch housing. I mean, this part that is technically, I guess, could be considered a switch housing slash nose is just a decorative, like, column or, like, mount for the light kit. So, turn the light kit off. The pull chain is actually installed, like, in the light kit itself for the light kit. But yeah, there's no actual speed control for the fan. So it only runs in one direction, and I have it attached to, or have it hooked up to my solid state speed control. So I'm going to start it off on low. I haven't done anything to the low speed trim on this control, so we'll see what it does. Hopefully you guys are seeing all this. No, you're just a little bit out of frame. There you go. So it does make a little bit of motor noise with this solid state control. I'm not sure but probably if I changed it out with a different control, maybe like a capacitor based control, it wouldn't make so much noise. See, that's a nice slow, low speed that this control is giving it. Alright, I'm going to turn it up just let's see, like an eighth of a turn. And this is the solid state control that I got with that, the white 48-inch Evergo spinner. The one that I uninstalled myself from that one person's house. Okay, go up a little bit more. I feel like it would be a lot cooler if the housing spun. If they found a way to make that stationary housing spin and have the light kit still stationary, that would be pretty neat. But this is still really neat. And I'm trying to think of what those blade arms remind me of. You know what they actually do remind me of? The Harbor Breeze, like the newer classic style or Springfield or whatever. I mean, I think they're basically that same exact shape. Yeah, when I saw those, I was like, those look pretty familiar. So that's kind of interesting. Let's turn it up just a little more. I think we're getting into like functional low territory. Turn it up a little more. A bit more. We're getting into medium low, or actually like slow medium territory. And the wobble, I did balance it as best I could. Like when I got it, the blades were all bent every which way, so I had to unbend those. But that was really easy to do since these blade arms are stamped. And but I did have to balance it other than that. So that's like a slow medium. Let's turn it up a little more to get a nice medium. A little bit of cyclic buzz. That's a pretty good medium, I think. Maybe on the slower side, but I can feel a breeze from it. Right, up a little more. We're creeping up into medium-high territory. Actually, this is probably maybe a fast medium. I can't tell if that like vibration buzz is like the motor, or if that's like something, one of the canopies vibrating up there. I don't know. Okay, up a little more. I'm gonna slowly creep it up to high now. Not quite at high yet. Okay. And now, this is 100% full high speed. As you can see, it absolutely flies. That thing is spinning fast. And the airflow is, well, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's blowing, right here, it's blowing the Panama back around in reverse. So, if that says anything about the airflow. So this thing is powerful. This is probably like, I want to say maybe it's even as powerful as my 60-inch Century that I used to have when I tested it in here. Yeah, I am highly, highly impressed. I'm trying to get you guys fully in frame here. Okay, and now let's spin it down. Now, I feel like this one is going to have a very long spin down time, just based on how how much it coasted every time I pushed it just by hand. Yeah, you can still see the Panama spinning. Alright, there we go. That was, as I suspected, very long. Probably the weight, and I guess the bearings are just really good too. So now the last thing to do, because this fan doesn't have a reverse switch, and so thus it doesn't have a reverse function, but what we can do is we can do a 0 to high. So start it up from low, or from off, and turn up to high. I'm not sure about that grinding, buzzing noise either. I don't think that's bearings. I think that's something else. But yeah, it takes no time to get up to speed. I guess I can show you guys an up-close view of the fan running. Alright. Shut it off. I'm gonna wait for it to... I tried stopping it by hand before it, because of how heavy it is and how fast it spins. It like flung my hand that way. But now I can show you guys an up-close view of the fan stationary. So, yeah, it's your really pretty brass housing here with this really nice ornate sideband, really intricate curlicue details and some, like, I guess filigree, well, not necessarily filigree, just like some cross hatching or something there. Blade arms, as I mentioned, and there's 4 screws that are supposed to be put in here to fasten the blades onto the arms, but for some reason I only got I think they missed 1 set of screws or something, so I could only use 3 per blade. But these blades, I'm not sure. I guess these are A&G blades, but I think they're solid bleached oak. They're actually really pretty. I really like them, and they're pretty heavy. Really nice wide pointed. Actually, this is more like an arch end instead of pointed tip. Reminds me a little bit of the Terra blade ends, but also a little bit of like the Crompton Greaves blade tips. So yeah, very interesting. And then the light kit, which as I mentioned is newer. You can clearly see by the newer sockets, and it's got a like newer pull chain in there too. But there's the light kit on again. Pull chain extension is not original. It's one that I stuck on there. And then on top, got your lower canopy, which as I mentioned is just a ginormous bell canopy flipped upside down. And then this canopy, which you can see the resemblance to the Terra canopy up here. It's got that, it doesn't have a like hump like or a rounded edge like this here. It's very squared, and then it's concave, and then it comes out to this other cylindrical part up here. The only difference is it has this extra ridge added here, and it's a little bit narrower. So, yeah, very interesting. Never seen a canopy quite like that before. And then the motor, like I said, cast iron, and it's gold painted. So everything in there is painted gold. There's a big oil-filled capacitor in there that's painted gold. All the like wiring and everything is painted gold. So I guess they just painted the motor and everything gold while it was like assembled. But yeah, very interesting. And like I said, suspect this is a CEC motor. Don't know if it's the same one that they used in A&G, but considering this is an A&G relabel, I'm guessing it had to have been used at some point. I don't know. I don't know very much about A&G as a whole. I know Dan has a few other vids on A&G, like the company, so maybe I'll have to take a look at those. But also the other thing I noticed, this piece is cracked in a few places. It's like cracked 2 places there, and once there. So hopefully that won't affect anything in the future. Yeah, the light kit you probably also saw was wobbling a little bit. I tightened that up. It was like really loose when I first got it. But like I said, there's no labels or anything. No labels on the top there. No labels on the motor under there. I haven't looked inside of the housing yet, so I don't know if there's anything there, but I doubt it. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything I left out about this one. It's just an overall weird fan. I'm really, really happy to have found it. Yeah, don't think there's anything I left out about this one, like I said. But that is the American Fan Manufacturing Company, or A&G Machinery, 52-inch top-mount ceiling fan. Thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video.